Hey guys, I'm Jacob. You're watching the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors. When we talk about psyops and current events and world issues, I've noticed that I use the term they a lot when I am talking about evil. It's often perceived in many ways. A lot of my viewers define they as the Jews. A lot of my viewers define they as the Catholics or the Muslims, and a lot of people probably define they as Christians as well. That's fine. We have people defining they as Masons, Bilderberg Group, whatever it is. How many different sects and religions and races can we hate and blame for the evil and manipulation that we see in the world and the power that we see in the world? The fembots and all of them blame men. We've got people just blaming white people in general. And recently, someone commented and said, if you can't name who they is, you're one of them. That's fine. It's actually a good comment because it brought to my attention that I was missing something. I say they so that whoever is watching the video can get something out of it, because for a lot of my videos I don't necessarily have to elaborate who they is. We know that there's evil in this world. We know that there is evil working against good in this world, and it's part of our intrinsic human nature to know that to our core. So when I make a video about psyops or red flags or manipulations or politics or world politics or history, and I say they, I've thought of it until now as a simple way to get people thinking about what can be going on, and they can put whatever they want in the they, and it's more likely that they'll think about the topic at hand that way. At least that's what I thought. But the answer to who they is in the good book. It's literally smack dab right in there in the Bible, and it's not hidden. It's preschooler level information. It's something that you're familiar with and that you've heard a million times over that you don't even think about. Most likely you don't even think about anymore. And if you do think about it, you probably think about it in the context for which you were taught, because they are working in the Christian church too. They're working in the seminary, and they're passing down information through your pastors and through your churches. And it's not always somebody doing something on purpose. You can use good information and miss something by omission. You can have the truth right in front of your face and miss it because you never thought about it any deeper than you were told to think about it. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about, Matthew 24, 6 through 13. Yes, I just looked at my hand, have it written down. If I've lost enough credibility to watch at this point, see ya. That's what I need to do. So Jesus says, Matthew 24, 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. The beginning of sorrows, that correlates to where we're going next. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Now we've got a lot going on here. A lot of people are already rage yelling at their computer screens because they will tell you that this has already happened, and we haven't even gotten to the meat of what we're talking about yet. However, we haven't been hated of all nations yet. Oh, in this context, it means all nations, as in Rome, because that was the known world. Nah, sorry, not buying it. You want it to be that, but I'm not buying it. Christians have not been ostracized across the globe by all nations yet. And if they had been, at that point, you weren't simultaneously seeing false prophets pop up like you do now. We've always had false prophets, but do you have someone coming up and saying, I am Jesus? No, Jesus died freaking 150 years ago, bro. Like, we still know what's going on. It's a little silly, but take this for what it's worth. And we are going to move on to Ephesians 6:10 through 20, and this is the preschool grade level of Christian theology that you probably already know. We're going to talk about putting on the whole armor of God, but they've been teaching it to you wrong, and you haven't thought about it. I'm going to bet you have not thought about it. So, by the way, I'm using the My Sword app. Guys, this is a free app, and I hear people argue and complain about translations all the time. And I hear people use scripture just incorrectly all the time. I took a New Testament, history of the New Testament class in a secular school, and I freaking made that teacher work because they used a New Oxford Standard annotated Bible with Apocrypha, and it was trash. So I came to class with a Strong's Concordance, and every piece of curriculum that he was giving to try and disprove the New Testament, because that's what the class was about in reality, was just torn to pieces by the Strong's Concordance. And you can have that, boom, attached right in as you're reading. And you can also compare basically all of the translations side to side and see where some of them may be screwed up. It's a free app. I have nothing to do with them. Definitely download My Sword. All right, on to Ephesians 6:10 through 20. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. I'm going to go ahead and say that that is psyops. That is misinformation that is designed to mislead you. Let's continue. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. And for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly, and make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in bonds, that therein I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. Christian pacifism is rampant, by the way. Just effeminates in the church rampantly. It's disgusting. And we have a lot to break down here, but let's go back here. For we wrestle not against the flesh and the blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. People, I think, just gloss over that, but one thing I want to point out is it does not say, for you wrestle not against the flesh and blood. It says we. It's talking about Christians. So going back to Matthew 24, it says you will have wars and rumors of wars. Do not worry about it. It's not the end. More is coming. We are told that every war that we get into is the war. We are led to believe that if we don't lose this one, it's the one, guys. And we are not supposed to worry about it because it's not the truth. It's not reality. We're not watching nations fight against each other. We're watching a puppet show. This is where the psyops comes in. We're watching lies. You know we're watching lies. You have just sat there and talked for the last 4 or 6 years about how the media is a lie and about how we're being manipulated, and yet you get your opinions and talking points from the media and your theology from a church that has not taught you anything since you were 14 years old. So when you look at all of the world's powers meeting in Switzerland every year, and you think, man, it's the Masons, they're pulling all of our strings. When you look at the evil Jews like doggone George Soros, who was literally a Nazi who turned in other Jews for the Nazis, when you look at Muslims as a religion, when you look at white people, when you look at men, you are being taught to take a side on a team, and that becomes part of who you are. You will naturally take that in. It becomes part of your personal identity, your nationality, your race, your ethnicity, your gender. All of these things, Satan knows it. It's all sociology. It's all psychology. It's all been studied. It's all out there. And it's being used against you. And it always has been. We don't belong on this earth. We are not normal people like everyone else. We were chosen before the foundation of the earth for a purpose, and we're just visiting. We've got a job to do here, and then we're getting the crap out. If you are being led astray by all of these psyops, and you define yourself by your nation, and you are gearing up to die for your country, you are helping them win. Because no matter who it is that you hate, no matter who it is that you think you're responsible, you're right. They're all responsible. But at the head of it, at the top of the pyramid, is Satan or the Antichrist himself. These psyops and these lies that we have been fed have been happening for centuries, millennia. They go back as far as history. And if you start to track them in the mindset that we are given in the Word, you can see that there is a consistent agenda. The same thing being done, the same topics being pushed, the same direction for generations. People can't do that. We're too short-sighted. We don't have enough patience. We can't keep a goal or a dream for generations. It doesn't happen. That's why empires fall. That's why dynasties fall. People can't do it. There is more pulling the strings. And whoever you think it is, you're right. But you're wrong by omission. It's all of them. Satan uses the truth to mislead. Sayings like the devil's in the details used to have meaning. Think about it. If I tell you 99% truth, but I only change the 1% that I need to lead you astray, chances are I'm going to lead you astray. If a person illuminates the truth on a topic, you trust him as a truthsayer, and you believe what he will say. For instance, currently, Joe Rogan. The guy's a socialist. A flaming left-wing socialist. Endorsed Bernie Sanders for president, and the right is just jumping up and down for him right now. Black Rifle Coffee, just an arm of PSYOPs in and of themselves, doubling how much money he's making. He was offered millions of dollars to go over to Rumble and refused. Why? Because he's going to stay on Spotify. All they're doing is making him money. Look, we were all rooting for Kavanaugh, right? Why? Because the Democrats attacked him. Well, Kavanaugh had part in writing the Patriot Act, the most freaking overreaching fascist legal document, unconstitutional legal document in the freaking history of our country, written by this freaking piece of dirt. And you and I should have been the ones shouting it from the rooftops. I kind of was. But when the commies go and attack them, we take up arms, right? Not my boy. Why is he your boy? Because who you think your enemy is attacking him? They're all your enemy. All they did was slide him in smoothly with no opposition. So they've got plans for Rogan. They've got plans for Black Rifle Coffee. They've got plans for everything. I got so much stuff to talk about on this, and I don't have time for it all. But here's the deal. Listen, and it's hard. Trust me. It's a hard transition to make, and you have to have courage and be wearing the full armor of God to make this transition and admit that you've been wrong your entire life. And I'm guessing the older you are, the harder it's going to be. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness. Look, there's going to be wars and rumors of wars. Don't worry about it, because it's all a lie. And it's not your nation. You're not an American. You're not a Canadian. You're not a German. You're not Brazilian. You're a Christian. You cannot pledge allegiance to the republic for which it stands. That is worshiping the frickin' bronze calf, the golden calf. You cannot have two masters. You are saved or in covenant, or you're not. There's no saved and. You're being misled, and here's the deal. We got some hard times coming up. And for these plans to work, they need principled, moral men and Christians dead. They need masculinity dead. They need morality, especially in the military, dead. That's why we're fighting these wars. I lived over in Europe. I went to Rocking Park with tens of thousands, if not probably hundreds of thousands of people for 3 days. I saw like 4 dudes. And when I say that, I mean everybody was so scrawny. I went to local gyms and guys were walking around with their girlfriends pushing the same weight, and their free weights weren't even Olympic standard, and they were unused. There are a lot of men left in Europe, but not what there would have been without these last 2 world wars. The remnant of principle and morality is here. And that is what is so shocking when you see politicians who sound good and you realize that they aren't. Ted Cruz just crapped on himself recently. Tony Cowan looks like a great guy. He's backed by Black Rifle Coffee money, and he's fumbled over himself when it comes to... And he talks about all of the same stuff. He's talking about being upright, principled, moral. You get personally involved with these people, personally support them. I personally supported Ted Cruz, I'm ashamed to say. Because you'd rather be stabbed in the back by somebody that you like, not somebody that's obviously bad. Is that the reason? Check it out, guys. That's they. It's Satan. It is the spiritual realm. They are pulling the strings, and once you realize that what you're looking at is not incompetence, it's malicious intent. They want you to think that it's incompetence because you won't go kill them over incompetence. It's not incompetence. Clearly, every single incompetent-looking bill and politician has been working towards a very specific end, and it's not incompetence. It's malicious. Wear the full armor of God. You cannot resist psyops, even if you know where they are, if you are not wearing the whole armor of God, and if your mind is not centered on Christ and on the truth. You can be led anyway. That's why you need to read your doggone Bibles, but also that's why you need to find like-minded Christians and study together as opposed to just going to church. Because guess what? Chances are your church is preaching the same milk that they preach to 12-year-olds, and they're doing it to you every single week for decades. And nobody is growing, and nobody knows what they believe or why. They just have a vague idea of what it means to be a Christian. And many of them are Christians, but they are not mature. And they are lambs being lined up for the slaughter. Don't be one of them. Anyways, that's all I got, guys. Thank you for watching. Videos like this are made possible because I advertise my businesses on YouTube. If you would like more content, Beach and Tactical is my brand. This is the new logo. It is a skull, N-A-R, and a shovel. The motto is, "Let the dead bury the dead," as Jesus said in Luke 9:60 when somebody wanted to make excuses before following Christ. Let the dead bury the dead. Exodus Knife and Tool, my knife brand. Knives made and designed for the final Exodus. I have a Patreon which helps me significantly. I'm an affiliate for Brownells and Palmetto State Armory, so if you're already going to buy from them, you use my link, I get a little kickback. It really helps. Freaking guys, share the videos. Everything that you're looking at is malicious intent. If you want to talk about it more, send me an email at the Preppers Bunker Outdoors or a message on Instagram. I'm willing to talk about it. I'm going to hit up more PSYOPs videos, explain how PSYOPs works. I worked with PSYOPs in Afghanistan. I've talked about it a bit. I worked with military intelligence. I have a bachelor's degree in domestic terrorism and homeland security. So I choose to live in the woods and talk to you in a cave. Because that was the better way to go than going and being an alphabet boy, which is clearly wrong at this point. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, he's a psyop. Look at my subscriber count. Look at the number of views that I get. How many people throw together some bullcrap video about politics that gets you a little bit riled up, and they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and millions of views? This will never happen here because I'm being shadow banned across social media platforms. And this is the message that they don't want. The message to center yourself in Christ, to freaking unplug from the matrix, to give you some secular freaking imagery, right? To work on becoming ungovernable, because if you are dependent on the government will be your master. And I'm living just like you, a relatively normal life. So I'm not talking to you from a pedestal. I'm equally guilty. I don't know what the right answer is for completely separating, but at least when it comes to how we look at the world, how we present ourselves, how we work, how we live, and how we raise our children, we don't have to take part. Have a blessed day. I'll talk to you.